Senator Faulkner.
Thank you, Mr Acting Deputy President. On a very wet Friday, the 2nd of March, a fortnight ago today, on the northern beaches of Sydney, I was one of more than 1,300 competitors in the Wild Women on Top Sydney Coastrek 50-kilometre to 100 kilometres team challenge. Well, Senator, if you listen carefully, you will learn all about it. I knew it would immediately gain your interest. Mr Acting Deputy President, the Sydney Coastrek is an endurance event to promote health and fitness, as well as teamwork, mental and emotional toughness and fun. And more importantly, it raises vital funds for the work of the Fred Hollows Foundation. The Fred Hollows Foundation envisages a world where no one is needlessly blind. The foundation has done magnificent work in Indigenous communities in Australia, as well as in other disadvantaged communities in our region and around the developing world. The foundation has helped restore the sight of more than 1 million people worldwide and have manufactured over 4 million intraocular lenses. It was fantastic to see so many teams keen to take on the challenge of Coastrek and support such a good cause. Our Achilles Coastrekkers consisted of 2 teams of 4 walkers. We took on the 50-kilometre challenge from Palm Beach to Balmoral. The first team, the Achilles Athletes team, consisted of blind or partially blind walkers: Ben Phillips, Bart Bunting, Freya Higgins and Nicole Tillotson. Mr Acting Deputy President, Ben Phillips' achievements as a blind cricketer and member of the Tigers Oxfam Trail Walker team are well known now to senators, having successfully completed last year's 100-kilometre Oxfam Melbourne Trail Walk, and I might say is well advanced in his training for this year's event in late April. Benny was obviously keen for some more punishment. The second team, the Achilles Guides team, consisted of sighted competitors Diane McEwen, Peter Hannigan, Katie Anderson and yours truly. As the name suggests, our team acted as the guides for the blind team over the 50 kilometres. Mr Acting Deputy President, this year the Sydney Coastrek was made even more challenging by the wind and rain that had been lashing Sydney for days. Our teams managed to complete the Coastrek, but had to do so in some of the worst conditions imaginable. Sydney really turned on some foul weather and horrendous trail conditions for the event. It was a relief, I can assure you, to take our final steps at Balmoral Beach after 18 hours and 10 minutes of walking. Mr Acting Deputy President, the Coastrek Trail follows bush tracks and footpaths along Sydney's normally very picturesque northern beaches coastline. We walked across the soft sand of ocean and harbour beaches and over headlands and cliff tops. Some of the highlights of the walk were Nicole's heroic 35 kilometres with very painful blisters, Benny's battle with exhaustion, Bart's reverse perambulation to relieve the pain in his knees, and Freya's consistently positive attitude. Mr Acting Deputy President, Sydney Coastrek set the goal of raising $1 million for the Fred Hollows Foundation, and it's very gratifying to confirm that that target has been reached. In fact, just a few minutes ago, the Sydney Coastrek website indicated that $1,034,576 had been raised through this event for the Fred Hollows Foundation. And I think all senators would agree that that's a truly magnificent result. Yeah. And I'd like to note here particularly that the supporters of the Achilles team contributed over $11,000 to that fundraising effort. Mr Acting Deputy President, I'd like to thank and congratulate the event organisers, all those at Wild Women on Top, with special mention to their Managing Director, Di Westerway, for her valuable advice and assistance to our teams. A sincere thanks also go to our tireless support crew and the other volunteers who gave up their weekend to support us and the Fred Hollows Foundation and did so much to help us finish. Finally, Mr Acting Deputy President, to my teammates in the Achilles Athletes and Achilles Guides teams, I just say to them, really well done. It was a great achievement by a great bunch of people, and it was great to be part of it.
Inspirational, Senator Faulkner.